You're listening to the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Sabrina Carpenter.
I'm Dasha.
Hey, I'm Billie Eilish.
What's up, guys? I'm Camila Cabello.
Hey, this is Tate McRae.
I love this station.
I love this station.
You're listening to Chasing Prophecy Radio, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. On the Oracle Talk Radio Network. Broadcasting live in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
If it's unexplainable, we're talking about it.
Whether you're a believer or a skeptic,
we cover everything where the unknown becomes the known.
And now, here are your hosts, Jenny Nicasio and Tom Callway.
Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. I'm Jenny Nicasio, live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm so glad to have you all here tonight. I just want to make sure I'm sharing my link while we are just beginning to go live. Sometimes it's a little slow going on Facebook and YouTube. It seems like sometimes it doesn't want to do what I'm saying to do. Okay, I hope it shares it. If you happen to be joining us tonight, I want to thank you all for being here all year long with me. While Tom was here and while he's absent until December or January. Hi, how are you? Okay. Oh my gosh, my computer is a little slow tonight. Hi, Kurt. How are you? I'm doing great. I just want to let you know we are broadcasting on multiple platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Oh, where else where are we at? All the multiple Facebook groups. So I just want to let you know also that we have one more show before I take a summer break. And you guys are probably thinking, wait a minute, what are you taking a summer break? Well, because I need a break. So we have one more show after this one, and we'll be back in September after Labor Day. So you just make sure you watch Into the Night with Sean Kelly, and that'll keep you fixed. Maybe once in a while I'll come on his show and just say, hello, guys. I have a lot going on, and I just need some time to recuperate and enjoy the summer. But we have a fantastic show tonight. So if you happen to have the link, please share it. I tried to share it on my personal page. For some reason, Facebook, is not letting me change the privacy unless I have to go into, the settings, and it just won't let me do it tonight. So, but you happen to be if you're on my personal page, I'd appreciate if you post a link. That would be great. And let me know if you can see it playing. So tonight we are going to have a very interesting night. And I apologize to him a number of times, our guest, because he was supposed to be on here a couple of times and my intern kind of screwed up things for us. But he is back and he's gracious enough to come on. So, and just an important time where I'm dealing with a lot right now with you, as you know, my dog. She's not gone, but she's on her way. Sorry. But tonight we cross the veil. Have you ever seen your dog after they passed away? Because I did with my first German Shepherd I had when I was, 16. And he was hit by a car on Verona Road in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. And I remember jumping when I heard that bang. And the bad thing was, it was my fault. I left the gate open. I slept with my mother for oh my God, I would say 6 months. So I took it really hard. But have you heard a whisper in the empty room or felt like someone was watching you, but no one was there? Well, Rob Gutro says those aren't just feelings, they're messages. He's a medium, a scientist, and a man who's spoken with both ghosts and pets from the afterlife. Hi, Kurt. Yeah, Kurt, it sucks. And I'm sorry. My son's a doctor and he's not a vet, but he came over and he looked at her. He said, Mom, she has a big tumor that's affecting her walking and it's shiny. He said, Mom, it's time. She's in pain. I said, but I'm in pain too. So it sucks. But Rob's going to talk to us tonight. So if you believe in that there is an afterlife, and tonight he's going to prove that love never dies. It just changes form. So get ready. The dead have something to say tonight. So without further ado, I want to welcome Rob Gutro to the show. And like I said, Rob, I do apologize for what happened last time you were supposed to be on the show, because my intern, she just didn't. She overbooked. She did so crazy stuff.
It's all good. Nice to be here.
Here. So, Rob, tell me, how did you always know you were a medium for pets, or is this something that just happened over the years?
Well, it happened in two stages, actually. The first stage was when I was 13 years old, and my grandfather, who died in December, appeared to me in full color in July.
Oh, my.
No one else was home, and he scared the daylights out of me.
I bet.
Just me and the dog, the family dog. And when my parents came home, I told them, and my mother confessed that she had the ability but was afraid to use it. And that her father, the one who appeared to me, also had the ability. And a cousin had the ability and used to help police in Randolph, Massachusetts, solve crimes. But in 2005, I had a puppy named Buzz. He was 7 months old. I was out walking him. His leash opened. He was killed by a car.
Oh,
and he reawakened my abilities. I mean, he was the one that taught me how pets communicate from the afterlife. And
wow. So,
and as a result, I wrote everything down, and that became the basis of my first book.
Wow. That's amazing. It's funny that you said the same thing happened to you. Happened to me when I was, that was devastating. But you know what, Rob? I have to share this with you. Hi, Joe. How are you? Glad you're here. Make sure you share the link. I'd appreciate it. My dog and me were really close, and I had his name is Caesar, and I called him Weezer because he was so cute. And I had him as a puppy because my mom had my dad got a German Shepherd, and it was a show dog, and he decided she was supposed to be retiring. He said, one more time, we're going to try to breed her. So it was the most wonderful experience I ever had, was having puppies with, growing up and having that experience. And thanks, Joe. And when he died February 19th, 1982, I remember the day I was wearing a granny pajamas with little flowers on. And it was February, and there was snow all over my front yard, and we lived on a hill and a maid dragon. I heard that bang, and I ran down, and I was devastated. And my brother was carrying her, and his hands actually went into the wound. He took it to Borderbrook, Murraysville. It was a animal hospital. And I went there, and they had IVs and hooked up to him. But that night I couldn't sleep. And I smoked cigarettes because I was a teenager, and I was in the bathroom smoking. I'm devastated. And then I got that phone call. My mom got the phone call at 2 a.m. and telling us that he had gone. And the same time that this was happening, we were putting brand new doors on our bathroom, and all the bathrooms, brand new doors, wooden doors. And I was so upset. I ran in the bathroom crying, sobbing. I'm on the potty. Okay. I'm on the toilet, and I'm crying. And I looked at the door, and his face was ingrained in the wood. I am not, all my friends, family, that was the big thing, to go see the door with Caesar on it. And everybody couldn't believe that this happened. So that's crazy. So you tell me, was that my dog's spirit?
That is not crazy. When our pets have a very strong bond of love with us, and they can come through to us in many ways. And that appearance of his visage on that door is just he was using energy to manipulate that so that you could see that and let you know that he was okay in spirit.
And the thing was, we would put him there because he was such a ferocious German Shepherd. We would put him there. That was his room where he would, it's sort of like a crate, but we would put him in the bathroom, that particular bathroom. And it was just so weird that he was on. It was like he went in his room. And I mean, I wish I would have took the door with us, when we moved, because no one would believe it. But if anybody knows me from that area and has ever been to my home, they would tell you that was like an attraction. But yeah, it's like when I lose pets, and this is another thing. Okay, let's back up a little bit. So, I'm just going to ask you a couple questions before we get deep into my own personal thing. But let's back up and I'll ask you the questions that I should ask you. So, what's the biggest sign most people miss when a pet is trying to communicate?
Well, there are a lot of signs. And the thing that everybody needs to remember is that pets, once they pass, they will do similar things to what they used to do in life. So if they like to scratch on the door to go out, you may hear them scratching on the door. If they like to jump on the bed and curl up next to you, you may feel that. If they like to bark in the house, you may hear that. It will sound softer and like it's coming from another room. So there are a whole bunch of different things that pets will do, and mostly things that they did when they were alive.
Mostly what they do when they're alive. So you say ghosts and spirits are different. And what's the scariest ghost you've ever met? I mean, like, you see human beings and pets. So you do both, right? Okay. So
the scariest ghost. Well, I didn't really see him. I heard him. It was a ghost in Cocky's Tavern in Maryland that said "Kill Rob" on an EVP. So I didn't stay around.
I didn't stay around either for that. That is scary. I wouldn't like to hear that. That's really crazy. No, thank you. So, you're a meteorologist.
Mm-hmm.
How does science explain the paranormal? Because I know a lot of people we have on the show, there's a lot of skeptics who don't think that, it's just your imagination. So how do you go
So
ahead
as a meteorologist, it was really important for me to try and figure out how the paranormal works. And it works in terms of energy. So what I've come to learn is that when our physical body dies, the energy within us, like cell splitting, thoughts are little electrical impulses, blood pumping and so forth. That all comes to an end and it becomes a massive energy, and it couples with our memories and our personality and the knowledge of this life we lived. From there, we have two options. We can cross over. I call that a spirit. That's on the other side, heaven, Valhalla, whatever, where 99.5% of pets go. Or we can stay earthbound at a fixed location of our choosing, or where we died, and that's what I call a ghost. Ghosts do not have the ability to cross over themselves after a while, because they're like a battery, and after a while of being in the same place, the energy level in that battery drops, and they don't have enough energy to open that doorway to go to the other side. So that said, they're also powered by energy. And herein lies the difference. So they both use physical energies like heat, light, water, and electricity.
Okay.
You may have heard that ghosts play with electricity, or you may notice that a lot of haunted towns are by a body of water, like a river or stream or the ocean. The difference is they also use another form of energy, which is emotional energy. Emotions have energy. So love, faith, and hope power spirits who've crossed over. Ghosts, earthbound, use negative emotional energy, fear, anxiety, depression, and anger. Those fuel a ghost. So if you go into a haunted house and you're anxious, you're fueling the ghost to give you, a sign or noise or something like that.
That's crazy. That's scary. So, how can I say this? You had a haunted house. Okay. Now, tell me about the haunted house experience that you lived in and what happened there. How did you know that it was haunted?
Yeah, that was a total accident. That was not a happy accident either. I went back to school for meteorology. I have a couple of other degrees, and I wanted to go back to school for meteorology and make that my final career. And I rented a room from in a 2-bedroom house in Kentucky, and it was Bowling Green, Kentucky. And the parents of this kid bought this house so that their kid could go right to the university, walk to the university, and so forth. So he was always looking for a roommate. So I answered his ad. I moved in, and the first Tuesday night at 2:30 in the morning, there was a pounding on the back door, which was the kitchen door that goes to the backyard. And it scared the hell out of me. So I looked out my window, which was facing the backyard. There was nothing there. I walked into the kitchen and turned on the light where the back door was, and the pounding stopped. And I thought, okay, probably a drunk college student, just ran away. Well, the next week it happened again, but it was on a Tuesday morning. It was on at 2:30 in the morning, pounding on the back door. I thought, okay, this is too much coincidence because it's 2:30 in the morning, same time. Again, it scared me. I managed to
of course,
walk into the kitchen shaking and turn on the light, and it stopped. So long story short, when the roommate moved in the third week, the guy whose parents owned it, happened again. He bumped into me in the hallway, and he said, "Did you hear that?" And I'm like, "Of course I heard it. I've heard it for the last 2 weeks, and it scared the heck out of me." So then he confessed to that his previous roommate moved out because of this ghost. Yeah.
I would definitely move out too.
And I thought the ghost may have been outside, but one day I was studying by myself in the house, and I went into the kitchen to make soup, and all of the cabinet doors are open by themselves.
Oh, wow. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. So that was before my medium abilities really developed.
That was before your medium abilities. Okay.
Yeah.
And did you sense anything that would make you think that this is supernatural? Like, did you have a feeling, like, hey, wait, I know what this is? Or did it just come like in a fleeting moment?
The second time, after the second pounding on the back door, it occurred to me. And the third time, when he was there, he told me that there was actually a motion light out and back, and he went out and tested it in front of me, and it never lit when the pounding happened. So there was no human outside.
Yeah, there was no unit made you think. So have you ever received a message from a spirit that changed someone's life instantly?
I would, I think quite a few times, actually, because when I do some of these pet readings, some of the people that I talk to have actually been almost suicidal.
Oh gosh, I can see that.
It's been hard. It's been really hard. And there was this one gentleman who I'll never forget this. He emailed me on a weekend, and first thing in the morning. And I don't usually check my email at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. For some reason I did. I was nudged by his dog, as it turns out. And he wrote me that he was sitting in his living room. It was 4 a.m. in California, and he had been drinking and taking prescription medication, and he had a loaded gun next to his.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So he said his dog had passed, who was his best friend, and his wife had left him. And he said, "I'm just writing to you because I read your Pets in the Afterlife book, and you're the only one that gave me hope." But he said, I'm beyond that right now, and I have to do something drastic. So Jenny, I spent the whole morning trying to figure out who he was, where he lived. I emailed him back and I said, please don't do anything crazy. I said, please send me a picture of your dog. He did. I tuned into the dog and I said, look, you need to go to a police department or fire department. Your dog will give you a sign that you need to do that for him. So I didn't hear back from him. And then in the afternoon, he messaged me back and he said, I went to the police department. I wasn't going to go, but his dog sent him a sign. He said he was walking toward the police department, and then he saw a woman walking a dog that looked exactly like his dog. And he said, okay, I have to go. He went, knocked on the door. The police officer let him in. Turned out the police officer and he had a lot in common. They both played music and so forth. And he wrote me back and he said, look, I'm getting counseling. I'm okay. This chokes me up. He said, thank you for telling me that my dog was going to be there for me. So, yeah, I'll never forget that.
That's something to remember. I mean, gives me chills. Kurt said, nice to meet you, Rob. Thanks for time tonight. Very interesting. I always wondered how certain mediums see all sorts of people, but never hear too much about animals. Are their souls or essence different than human beings?
That's a good question. Thanks, Kurt. Well, I would say yes, because their souls are much more pure than humans. The reason I decided that I was only going to tune into pets, except for Earthbound Ghosts, because I helped them cross over humans. The reason I decided to go to pets is because my dog awakened the knowledge in me how pets communicate. He taught me. So everything I learned from him. That was his destiny. Even though he died at 7 months old, that was his mission in life. And the last medium reading I did for a spirit who crossed over, Jenny, was, again, traumatic. It turned out to be an abusive alcoholic father, abusive in many ways. And, and I do my readings by email, so I don't know the person's last name or where they are or where they live or anything about them. And the woman confirmed everything I had in the reading. And I just said, you know what? I don't feel good about this at all. So from now on, it's just pets.
Well, that's probably best. Now, when you talk to pets, or how did that start? Like, how did he give, like you said, he helped you with this, like got you started. How did he do that?
So it was a number of ways. And right after his passing, right after the accident, it took about an hour and a half for me to get home. And my neighbors at the time drove his body over to my house. And so I could take his body to the vet for cremation. But when I walked in the door, the radio was playing, but I didn't turn the radio on and there was nobody else there. So my roommate at the time was at work. So I walked in and the radio was playing. And the radio was playing a very poignant song called The Dance by Garth Brooks. It's about a man who lost the love of his life but enjoyed the time together, the dance, if you will. So that was a musical sign. So Buzz got assistance from a human in spirit, not only to make me hear that song at that very moment, but to also turn the radio on because I didn't have it on.
Yeah.
And it took me about 10 minutes to find the radio that was playing. So that was bizarre. The second sign he gave me was a physical sign. He popped the lid off a trash can at the vet's office when I was standing outside waiting for the vet to call me in, and there was nothing there. And I had 3 friends had joined me there, and they're like, was there a squirrel there or something? And there was absolutely nothing. And I heard him say, Dad, I'm okay.
Oh, wow. So because they're pets, they're dogs or animals in our life, they don't speak. So they know how to. The telepathy that are they using, or you heard that, or they have the ability to use speech, or that
They
you
have,
can hear it.
yeah, they have the ability to repeat words that they've heard. So he knows that I was dad. um,
Okay,
and
because when I talk to Ava, I go, Mama. I say, do you want to go outside with Mama? You want to come in Mama's bed? So, okay.
so they know who you are, and that's how they can address you. And so, yeah, so I hear things in my head. I actually see sometimes. I actually see earthbound ghosts sometimes when I'm doing an investigation, and I sketch them out. So,
Oh,
so I hear
that's
them, I
neat.
see them, I feel them.
And you sketch them.
I do. I sketch them. Yeah.
That's neat. It's really cool. I have okay, let's see. I've been having a strange experience lately. I don't know what this is, but I'll be outside and I think it's Ava because I see in the shadow, I see I see like the fur of a big dog with a big fluffy tail.
Mhm.
And I've noticed that more like 3 or 4 times lately. And I'm like, what is this? What's going on? Because her sister passed away like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago from DM. Like, what is that? I can't remember the name of it, but it's a genetic disorder. But she passed away and it was her sister. And then I thought, well, why would I be seeing this? Because it looks like I thought it was Ava. I said, go, Ava, go, stop it, or whatever she was doing. I could see, like in my peripheral vision, to me, it looked like a German Shepherd. Now I'm thinking, well, I lost a German Shepherd. Her sister died too. So I'm like, why am I seeing this? I don't know who this is because it's not Ava. Ava was not there. She was in my room lying on my bed. So it's like, what am I seeing? Is this another German Shepherd or is this something else?
So it would likely be another German Shepherd that's connected to you some way. But the way to tell who it is to acknowledge the date or the time, because those things there has to be a correlation there in order to figure out who it is that's visiting you.
It's just recently. I don't know. Maybe Coda died last. I don't know. I have to ask I have to write that down because I'll have to ask my niece when Coda died. If she died in June, I don't know.
The other thing too is that
it was in the summertime.
Yeah. Oh, we're 9 days away from summer.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing too is that because your other dog is sick, that could be a visitation to let you know that your dog who passed is waiting for them.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could think like that. It's just he's like, what is going on here? So they know. Okay, no, my mother died in June 22nd of 2020, June 18th, 2022, and my Ava was so close to my mom, so
Mm-hmm.
close that when she died, she had to go on Prozac because she was so upset, and she ate like a part of her hip, like from anxiety. Like she
Wow.
made it raw. So she had to go on Prozac. So every once in a while, I mean lately, because I told her, I said, Ava, you can go see Grammy. It's like, how do you know a dog is ready to go? Like, do you have any kind of advice or anything? How do you know that it's their time?
So I do. So I have 4 dogs in spirit, and actually every one of them are on the covers of my Pets in the Afterlife books. And they've all given me signs that have been pretty amazing. One dog in particular really let us know when it was his time. Our dog Franklin, he was a dachshund. He's 16 and a half years old. And feisty little stubborn, lovable thing. But and he would never miss a treat. Yeah, totally food hound. So he had disc issues. He had already had back surgery once in his life when he was 11. But at 16 and a half, another disc started to slip, and his back legs were almost useless. And we were going back and forth about, when to help him cross over. And it was a horrible emotional time, as you know. So what we used to do after dinner was we would carry him in the den where we'd watch TV, watch the news after dinner. And one night when we knew that he was getting close, he got up from his bed with his front paws only, his front legs, and he dragged himself out of bed to try and go in the kitchen and sit alone. Now, he's a very sociable dog. When they want to distance themselves from us, that's a sign that they're ready to go.
Distant. Okay. Because she used to come in my bedroom and sleep on my bed. Now it's hard for her because she can't get in. So she has to use I have an ottoman in front of my bed, but she's been doing that. And every morning she comes in. It used to be that she would cry. I'm like, Ava, it's 4:00 in the morning. It's time. You can't have your bone, like her dentist stick. She loves her dentist stick. And I said, it's 4:30. Can you give me 5 more minutes? Can you go in the kitchen? She listens to me. She goes and sits. I go sit on the couch in the kitchen. We have like a hearth where there's a kitchen, and there's a fireplace, and she'll go in there, and then I bring it out. It's like she doesn't, like, she'll come in now she just comes in and just opens the door and then she leaves. It's like she comes in to check on me and then she leaves. It's like, I don't know. Like, I keep telling myself, oh, you're going to tell me when it's time to leave, because I've been doing stuff that you shouldn't. I've been feeding her by the spoon to get her to eat, her foods, because she'll go all day without eating. And I think, well, they said if she stops eating, then, but I give her food on a spoon. So I guess I'm cheating. So
no, that means you're a great mom. That means you're a great mom. You want to make sure that she's comfortable, and you're caring for her the best you can. So if she's eating it from the spoon, that's okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was okay or not. If I'm pushing her, I mean, if I'm keeping her when she does it. So, okay, so so you just have to keep an eye and wait for them to tell you when it's time, I guess. If they haven't, her eyes are so sad. She's like, is it time yet? So you can communicate. Can you communicate with, like, if I want to communicate with my lost pet, Caesar, is there a way I can communicate with him?
He passed?
He passed in 1982.
Yes. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how long ago a pet has passed, because they wait for us on the other side. And one important aspect of the other side is that time is not a thing. Time is not relevant there. Time is only a physical construct. So time is how long it takes a planet to go around the sun in 1 year. So for us, it's 365 days. For Saturn, it's 29 Earth years to make 1 year. But for the other side, even though he passed in 1982, it's like he just passed, because it's energy. Okay. We are energy with a consciousness. So they're always they're like energy waiting for more energy to give us a sign or do something at an appropriate time. Okay.
Now, can a pet who passed away bring another pet for you to keep you company or anything like that, or not to replace that pet, but like a dog or a cat that's passed?
Yeah, they absolutely do. And they can influence us to get the next pet. So I have a whole number of stories that I can share with you about that. But in one instance, a woman had lost her dog named Bullet. And she told me that, she was devastated. She was never going to adopt another dog. She couldn't do it. She couldn't go through that again. And she said a couple months after Bullet passed, she was driving home. There was the SPCA. Something made her pull in. And she realized later what made her pull in. She said, I found myself sitting in my car looking at the front door. And I said, what am I doing here? She said, okay, I got out. So she got out. She talked to somebody at the desk. They walked her through the rows of cages with the dogs. And she said, again, I didn't know what I was doing here, but I got to the last cage. On the bottom, there was a little dog that I looked at, I fell in love with. The dog's name was Trigger.
Bullet Trigger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And she said, I knew I had to adopt this dog. I knew that Bullet led me to this dog. And by the way, Bullet and Trigger are the horses of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans for the older folks that are listening. If you remember Dale Evans and Roy Rogers. But yeah, that's one example. That our pets will absolutely lead us to the next pet they want us to adopt.
Well, that's good to hear. So, what stories can you tell us about any kind of, pets that brought a special gift or something to the person? Like, I know losing a pet, it's like, it's devastating. It's like, how do you go on? Am I ever, I know that there's a rainbow bridge and all that. And what if, like my dog, she was very reactive German Shepherd. I mean, she is. And she killed a lot of animals in our yard. Now, is there any kind of, like God says, you shall not kill. Is there anything for pets that is she going to still go to the rainbow, because she's killed so many animals, like rabbits and possums. And she wasn't a very good, when she sees them, she would just, I can't believe how she used to run.
She's a dog. I mean, no, that's their nature. They come from a line of hunters. So we all come from a line of hunters, but no, there's no judgment at all on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes for people too. We are the ones who judge ourselves. We are the ones who judge
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. And because we all get a revelation right when we pass, we get a flashback of all our life. And we realize what we've done right, what we've done wrong, who we've hurt, who we've loved, and so forth. And then we make a decision. And I found a lot of people who are very, very dedicated to their religion will actually wind up staying behind as an earthbound ghost because they think the slightest infraction will send them to a bad place. And what I've learned from talking to spirit is there is no bad place. It's really it's all the other side. It's all love and peace and acceptance. But there are 3 levels, and people who hurt others and so forth understand they've hurt others. They'll go to that lowest level and they'll wait for forgiveness or try to get forgiveness. Like that abusive father that came through to me. He begged his adult daughter for forgiveness. So yeah, no, all pets are
pets go to heaven.
Higher.
Dogs go to heaven.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good to know. So how long do they stay on this side? Do they wait for the owner to feel better, or do they go right over and they just leave? They don't think twice.
They typically go right over. And the reason why is because not only are there our loved ones, our human loved ones on the other side calling to them, there are other pets too that we have had in our families. And the thing about pets is that pets are much more instinctual. So they sense a good place, a peaceful place, a place with love. Humans are not that bright. I mean, if we can be, we can have somebody saying, come to me, I am going to take care of you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to nurture you, whatever. And we'll go, no, I don't think so. Because we're not as trustworthy as a pet. And we don't have the instincts that pets have. So 99.5% of pets cross over.
99 points. Okay,
so I've only met 4
to hang around
that decided to hang around. Yeah, one was a dog. After his mom passed in the 1800s, or her mom passed in the 1800s. Her name was Fanny, the dog. She decided to stay in the house. So because she loved greeting the visitors that would come.
Okay.
So this is a place in in England, it's John Soane's museum, Sir John Soane. He was a big architect, British architect, and we went there because my husband is an architect. So so we went to this museum, and we opened the front door, and then there's this little black and tan dog jumping all over me, and I'm like, what is a dog doing in a museum? And of course, I turned to my partner, and he goes, "There's no dog here." But as it turns out, everybody that worked there, I talked to, I said about a dog, and they said yes. Everyone has seen little Fanny running around, and Fanny still has a good time greeting everybody in spirit. I mean, in at the front door rather, as a ghost.
Do you ever have any dogs that stay around to greet because they want to protect the home, and they like to bark at the door?
They come back to do that once they cross over. They're very dedicated to their pet parent as a protector. They will come back, and they will come back various times. You may hear their nails on the floor.
Okay.
You may hear their collar jingle. When my dog Dolly, who was a Weimaraner, passed away, she was my heart dog. I heard her going up the stairs one night when I was in bed.
Oh, wow.
Because all of our other dogs they're dachshunds, and Dolly was the
Okay.
Weimaraner. She was the big girl. But I distinctly heard, I heard every paw on every step.
Oh, that's crazy. So do you have, when you say heart dog, explain to me what you're talking about and what is that about?
Sure. A heart dog is the dog that is most special to you. It's the dog that's most bonded to you out of all the dogs you've ever had. And Dolly was that for me. We would look into each other's eyes. We would know what each other was thinking. Before, like, I would just look into her eyes, and she would get up and she would get ready to go to the door because she knew I was going to say, "Dolly, you
Yeah.
want to go outside?"
That's so fun. That is what my dog does. So do you think they're telepathic? That like, I'll be thinking of taking Ava outside to go sit, go, and all of a sudden she's there. It's like she runs out, like she knows. So do you think that they're telepathic?
To a point, they may be, but they're very instinctual. So they read our body language, and they can sense emotions. When you think about it, Jenny, they know when you're happy, they know when you're sad, they know if you're mad at them because they don't come out.
Yeah, they don't come
When you're
out.
sick, they come to you and they lay next to you and nurture you. So they read our emotions, and I think that's why.
Yes, it's like sometimes I think Ava's telepathic because she'll be in the other room and I'll be saying, I'm going to go, go outside, or I'm going to go here. And she comes, like, she's afraid a lot. She was very fearful at one point. She's not anymore when she was younger, but she was very scared of a lot of things, a lot for a German Shepherd. And I guess that brings me to the point where, like, do you think how could I find out, like, after she's passed, if she's upset that I didn't take her? I saw the tumor. My son told me, "Mom, she has a tumor." And I said, "Nah, it's not a tumor." And all of a sudden it started growing. And I called the vet. The vet came and she said, "Well, the only thing to treat this is because there's not a blood test for mammary cancer in dogs that will say that this is cancer.
Yeah.
You have to have it removed. And you can't do a biopsy on that. You have to have the thing has to come out." And I didn't do it because I was told, because Ava's very reactive. She's like I said, she's a very reactive German Shepherd. She was scared to death of the vets. I had to have a vet come to the house because at one point when she was a puppy, the vet cut her quick too far down when they were cutting her nails, and she bit the vet. And then we tried to get her to go. It was, I guess, after she was spaded. It was just a horrible, she will not. So I thought, well, it would put her through too much to have her go through that. And then I was told because of her age that it would be, the recovery of it is too hard because she was 11 years old. So I didn't do it. So I treated her myself with ivermectin. And I stopped because it was started to shrink, and I stopped and I said, let's give you a break because she was starting to have GI issues. So like she was nauseated. So I quit. And then as soon as I quit, it grew and grew and got really super big. Now it's at the point where it would never work on her now. Do you think, this is how I want to know now, after she does cross over, will she let me know that she's not upset with me because I didn't do everything I could to save her?
Yeah, she will absolutely let you know that. In fact, I can tell you right now that she's not upset with you at all because you've been such a great mom. And, as a dog, and as a dog grows older, it's really a hard decision to put them under, because even dogs that are middle-aged can pass. And I can't tell you how many dogs that I've done readings for that have passed just from getting a dental cleaning at 5 years old. So, no. They know when we are trying to take care of them, and they appreciate everything that we do for them. You are a mom, and you are treating your dog with nothing but love and care, and she can sense that.
I lost a German Shepherd. That's another reason why I took her to, I didn't. My brother took her to get her ears cleaned because she had an ear infection. She had a heart attack and died at the vet.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
And she was 6 years old.
That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah.
I was just too scared. I didn't want to put her through all that. It just sucks losing your dog. I know she's 12 years old, and I'm lucky that she's been around this long, because German Shepherds, they don't have a long life,
So it doesn't matter how old they are when they pass. And I've read, as a scientist, it was important for me to understand the psychology behind this, because the grief that we suffer when a pet passes is much more intense than it is when a person passes.
Yes.
And unless it's a human child. And the reason is because we raise them just like human children. We take them out. We take them to the doctor. We teach them things. We take them to school. We dress them up sometimes if it's raining outside. I know I do with my dog.
I did. I had a raincoat for my dog. I tried boots, but she wouldn't let me do it. She did not like the boots.
Yeah, they don't like boots. We give them baths, right? We take care of them. They can count on us. They sleep with us sometimes. They snuggle up to us.
I love sleeping with her. I'm going to miss that.
So they do everything a human child does. And we look at them as children. We really do. And I do.
I do.
And that's why it's so hard to deal with their passing, because looking at them as children, even though we know their dogs and their life is only like 15 years, it's normal to think that your child is going to outlive you. But here's what you need to know. If your dog outlived you, you would be much more panicked that your dog is not going to get the level of care that you gave your dog. So we have to use that as a comfort.
Yeah. Because you hear so many stories of people dropping their dogs off, the elderly people, and they go to a shelter because no one wants them. It's like,
so all my dogs are rescue dogs, all of them. One of them, our dog Sprite, who passed in 2013, he was a dachshund, 16 and a half. He came from a senior citizen couple. One of them died. The other one went into assisted living. Of course, I picked up the dog. I picked up Sprite 2 hours away from where I lived. He had 22 teeth that had to be removed. They were rotted to the core.
Oh.
He had a really serious heart murmur. He had 2 ear infections. They just didn't take care of him because they were incapacitated, which was just awful to the dog. And their adult children didn't want anything to do with him. So I've been doing animal rescue for 18 years. And we've had a lot of fosters and transports and so forth. So we adopted this little guy. And he lived with us for 6.5 years. And this, I can relate to what you're going through because he had a tumor that burst in his nose
Oh, geez.
one night. Yeah, and the nose wouldn't stop bleeding. And I didn't know what was happening because I didn't know there was a tumor in there. You can't see it
Mm-hmm.
in the nose. So the ER told me that, and they said, you have to make a decision to help him now. Or, and I said, well, wait a minute. It was like 3 a.m. That's what it was. I said, no. I need to take him home. If you can quell the bleeding, I need to get him to say goodbye to the other dogs. And then I'll do it. So I did. And he knew what we were going to do for him. It was the hardest decision. Yeah. On the way to the vet, he understood that we were going to help him find peace. And he had not eaten for 3 days before. I took his favorite treat with me, a vegan strip, and he ate the entire thing on the way. And I suddenly felt, oh my God, I felt awful. I'm like, am I doing the wrong thing? But I knew what was happening with him. He was bleeding internally. Mm-hmm. So I knew that. When I connected with him on the other side, he said he was so happy that I understood what he needed to do, what I needed to do. That's why he ate his vegan strip. It was really hard. And a couple of days later, when our dogs were out in the backyard, he brought in the first yellow and black butterfly of the year in mid-July. Where the butterflies were before that, I had no idea, but first one. And that butterfly flew around the other dogs in the backyard just the way he used to amble around them because he was kind of a chunky little dachshund. And almost every July 8th, I see a yellow and black butterfly. And I know it's him.
You know it's him. It's heartbreaking. Oh, yeah. I just hope I make the right decision.
You will.
I don't want her to burst open. That's one of my fears.
Yeah.
But, it's like, how do you know if it's going to burst open? My son, he said it's glossy. And
yeah, you really don't. In that case, we have to rely on the advice of medical professionals. But when she's still eating a little bit.
Yeah, she still eats. She still likes to go outside and sits. It's so big. Now it's getting in. It's like up into her leg, like a groin, and she's having a hard time walking. And I don't know how big a mammary tumor can get before it bursts. And it's purple and glossy, and she lets us touch it. So she's not like, what's that called? Flinching, that it hurts. So, I give her anti-inflammatory when she can't walk, like if she's having a really hard time walk. I tried gabapentin and it made her too dizzy, like wobbly. So I quit doing that. And I was talking to the people in the ivermectin for dogs with cancer. And they said, why don't you try rubbing it on her? Maybe it'll shrink, whatever. Hi, Glenn. West Virginia, huh? Thank you. Yeah, it's like, how do you, I don't want to let her go if she has maybe she can enjoy a couple more nice sunny days outside.
Sure.
She loves to sit in the sun. Now, I'm just praying. I pray every night. I even prayed today that she goes in her sleep. Like, why can't, it's like, why do I have to be the Grim Reaper? I don't want to be the Grim Reaper.
Well, it's not really, you shouldn't look at yourself as the Grim Reaper. You look at yourself as a mother with compassion.
Yeah. I just wish they could tell you if they're hurting. I wish they could say, yeah, I hurt, Mom, please, just let me go.
So sometimes you can see it in their eyes. My dog Dolly, one night she, you have to excuse me, our dog is
That's
coughing.
okay. Oh, he's coughing. Got a cough.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's
he's
sad.
got a cough. He's on prednisone. He's on cough medicine. He's on my asthma inhaler.
Oh my, poor
He's getting all
guy.
kinds of treatment. Yeah, yeah. He's gonna be 17. He's a little.
Oh,
dachshund
you're
chihuahua mix.
blessed. It's a chihuahua. That didn't sound like no chihuahua. That sounds like a big
Oh
dog.
yeah, I know it's a pretty loud cough. Yeah. So little dogs, by the way, suffer from tracheal collapse. Have you ever heard of that?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's when their trachea collapses on itself, and
Oh my.
they lose the ability to breathe and eat.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Poor thing. I hope he feels better.
So so when our dog the night before we had to make that decision with our dog Dolly, she was a Weimaraner, and one of the discs in her back slipped out that night when we were walking her in, and her back legs fell out from under her, and she was totally paralyzed.
Oh my God.
And when I carried her in and put her on her big bed, she looked at me and she stared at me, and I knew she was ready to go. So we called the vet to come over the next morning, and we helped her pass outside, surrounded by our other dogs.
Aw.
By the
Yeah.
way, one thing that I want to tell your listeners that's important that I did, on Dolly's last day, she put her head on one of her toys. Her favorite toy was a yellow Woodstock Peanuts character. And so when she passed, I took that toy because I was a mess. I told my husband, I said, I don't want to talk to anybody for a month. I took that toy, I put it on my bed, and at night I'll put it in my bed and I will sleep with it. And I will feel Dolly with me. And it's so comforting. So take a toy from your pet, put it in your bed. If you just put it on your nightstand.
I will. It's going to be a lousy summer. Because we got her after my sister passed away from breast cancer in 2013. And then my dad died in 2014. So she kind of got me through all this grief. And then when my mom died in 2022, she slept with me every night.
So
and she was suffering too.
That's her mission, though. Her mission was to be your comfort during those very low times. And now you are her comfort during her lowest time. So you are repaying that in kind with your unconditional love. And that's the most beautiful gift. I mean, you've learned the lesson of unconditional love from her. And now you're
she's always been there. And I went on vacation, and I wish I wouldn't have went on vacation after my mom died because I was a nervous wreck. I didn't want to leave Ava. I had to have all these cameras, even though she was with my son and his wife and babies. I was like, I had all these cameras so I could watch, or make sure she's okay. Is Ava okay? And I felt doubt. I couldn't really enjoy myself. I was worried about my dog. It's like I was never away from her. To anyone who says angels don't exist, they're wrong. They are all, yes, they are. So I said, she's my best friend. How am I going to go on without my best friend? It's just devastating for me.
Well, you have to know that your best friend is always going to be there, always going to be connected. So when Dolly passed in 2020, October 20th, 2020, it was one of the worst days of my entire life. But pretty much right away, she started sending me repeating numbers. Repeating numbers are angel numbers. They're numbers from spirit that indicate that they're there. And Jenny, every single day since October 20th, 2020, I have seen repeating numbers.
Oh, That's crazy.
Dolly
Like
is
you
bonded
said,
with me.
Dolly is going to be with you forever.
Yeah. So she's on the cover of my Pets in the Afterlife 3 book.
I'm going to have to read all your books.
But with Franklin, because they both passed within 5 months of each other that year. That was a terrible year for me.
That's wonderful. You have that bond with them. But I hate to leave on such a, I thought it was a great show, and we're only on for an hour. So
Well,
I
want to let you know that no matter what you do, it's the right decision. Trust your heart. Our pets will be waiting for us on the other side, and she'll be helping you too from the other side.
well, it gives me hope. I mean, it's just crazy that I have you on here. That we actually set up this particular time.
There's no such thing as a coincidence when it comes to spirit, Jenny.
I know.
Timing is everything.
But it was a really enlightening show, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. Where can people find your books?
They can go on Amazon. Just type in Gutro, and you'll find me. I have 12 books. Some about ghosts, some about spirits, some about dogs, some about people.
Well, my mother passed away. I've had so many. I felt her presence on her birthday. She came in my room, and I felt her, and I know it was for my mom. I totally know it was my mom.
Birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays. They all come by. Dogs, cats, people. Yep. By the way, I'm at robgutro.com too, so people can find me there if they want.
There you go, people. Okay, I want to remind you all that next week is my last show until September. I'm taking the summer off. Oh, I like how he said. My dog, Clint said my dog slept with me every night until she collapsed. I wish Ava would just do that. Just go to sleep. I'm going to still keep praying that she does, but I would be like I said, I don't want to make that phone call. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Rob. I needed this tonight, and make sure you share the link, and we'll see you next time. And this thing ain't going to work probably. It never works. My intro never works lately. I rescued my cat Piper from oh my goodness gracious. Well, that's really bad. Well, thank you all for tuning in to Chasing Prophecy. I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. And my retro's not going to go off. Why does it do this to me? Where is it? It's not going to go. Come on.